guys, it's Sylvia. I just came on to let you guys know. Here comes Dottie with her. That's for the notes. She's doing the commentary of what happened on today. All right, have a good one, Dottie. Enjoy. Bye, guys. Do you need light?
Nope. So when do I know to start on yours?
It's already started.
I mean, it's enough people.
It's got 129 people already.
Okay. Okay, y'all. So today started at about 12:28. Diana Copeland was still on the stand. Hold on. She was still on the stand for the prosecution. Let's see. It says Friday she testified. This is the prosecution talking to her. Friday you testified about fines. Do you recall the amounts? She said no. Were there different amounts? Yes. Were there times your paycheck was different? Yes. That was because the fines was taken directly from her paycheck. They asked her again, when did she purchase her computer? She said January 2018. She basically used that computer for notes in her meetings with Rob. What happened to it? She said she last seen it in April 2018. It was in the lounge area of the studio. They asked if she had any convo with Rob about it. She said yes. She just asked about it when she first noticed that it was missing. She said he didn't really respond. He didn't really say anything. He just basically gave a look. And then they asked if he took the steps to help you look for it or ask anyone. She said never. Have you received it back? She said no. She said she did a search like Find My Device to locate the computer. And when she did that, it popped up that it was still somewhere inside of the studio. She learned later that the computer had been used or it was open because Apple sent her a notification, but this was a few months later. So she had sent a text about the notification that she received to James Mason. But she didn't receive the location or anything at that time. She only received the location the first time to when she was trying to locate it when it first came up missing. Can you look and see if there's like questions and stuff as I'm going? Okay, so she testified she stopped working around April 2018. She said the reason, she just said basically it was a lot of people, there was a lot going on. She said her and Rob really wasn't seeing eye to eye. There was some new management. They had let in a lot of people that they really didn't trust. And she said she just wasn't feeling it. She said the last time she seen Rob was in 2018. She couldn't recall the month, but he had met her at a park across from the water tower. The water tower is down on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, like Michigan and Chicago. When she showed up, she said she was sitting on the bench and he called her and said, "You don't see this big giant man sitting here?" And so afterwards, they went to the trunk. Jane was with them. When she arrived at the trunk with them, Jane had gave her a robe and asked her, was she wired? She said that kind of shocked her. She said at that time she can't remember. She said she wasn't wired, but she can't remember if she had met with law enforcement before or after that. They told her to, basically she knew that they wanted her to derobe. So she took off her shirt. She had left on the tank top, pants, and then she put the robe on. They asked whose direction was that? By whose direction was that? Who ordered you to do that? She said it was Rob's direction. She understood it was, okay. She said Rob was just upset about what was going on in the media. And he basically asked her to write something truthful about how she feels about him. So he said, write something truthful. And then he gave her something, a pad and a pen or something to write with. And then the exhibit 301 was the actual letter that she wrote. And I just took a little part out of it. She said he's never verbally, mentally, physically abused anyone. And she said that she should have put that she's never seen him ever verbally, mentally, physically, or abuse anyone. And they asked, has he ever abused you? And she said, why has he ever verbally abused you? And she said, well, she wouldn't call it verbal abuse. They would basically have their little, altercations that everybody has. And then she said that pretty much only happened at that time after the time she got fined. They would bump heads about that. And she said he'll be pretty heated. Afterwards, she said she would sometimes cry. She continued to work for him after the verbal disputes. Sometimes she would quit, and he would raise his voice and he criticized her in these disputes. When she quit, she did return. They asked if you wrote more than one letter. She said yes, but it was years prior to the first one that she had wrote. So basically, the staff was required to write a letter saying that they stole. This was under the advice of his attorneys that he asked his staff to write these letters. But she said she had never stolen anything. Then that's when they proceeded to show the letter. They showed her signature. A quote from the letter was, "I have stolen money from you and I am sorry. I will never, ever betray you again." And then they just made note of her signatures on the top of each page and on the bottom of each page. So then they showed her Exhibit 970, which was just her phone number she's had for many years. I believe it's still her phone number. The prosecution had nothing further. The Candid cross-examined. He says, in that letter you just read, you said Rob he was referring to the letter, and he asked, would you say that Rob is a giving, loving person? She said yes. Generous person? Yes, he is. He's had money stolen, hasn't he? Wasn't that true? Yes. But he asked, there was a dispute between the two of you, and you left for 2 years, and you wrote that letter when coming back in. So basically, it wasn't something that she had to write, but she was gone for 2 years, and when she came back, she had to write the letter because he had things stolen from him. And then whatever dispute that they had, he says that it was never resolved, but her and Rob just moved on from it. She said yes. He asked her, when you met with the government a number of times, she said correct. He said you cried then because you didn't like the way that they were questioning you. So yes, so basically he's just trying to say she's a very sensitive person and she can cry at the drop of a hat. So it's not like you really had to be in this woman's face or anything like that for her to cry. She would cry because she's just a sensitive person. He began to ask, it's pretty common for there to be fines in the music industry. She has a lot of friends in the industry, and he asked, are they fined? And she said yes. She testified that she testified before that she left her employment because they were not seeing eye to eye. But when in actuality, it wasn't really Rob she wasn't seeing eye to eye with. It was the new management. She said yes. She said she came back sometimes because she seen he didn't have trustworthy people around him. And then Kanick just began to ask questions about people stealing from him. He wanted to say that, people were stealing from him and she witnessed it or she knew about it, and that's the reason for her coming back. But the prosecution objected. So he moved on. She stated Rob didn't even know his social security number. He had no control over his bank accounts. He didn't know how things were getting paid. He didn't know where his royalties were going. And she said, she talked about finding out, his reading, his writing wasn't good. And basically, that's the reason why she came back, because there were no trustworthy people around him. And she testified that what I just said, he didn't have his social, he had no control over bank accounts and things like that. So she pretty much loved him. So she came back to help. Like he said, you were there to pretty much make sure everything. She was there to make sure everything he needed. He had everything he needed. His bills were paid. When he was on tour, everything ran smoothly. Yes, she did all that. She managed the estate. When she was his personal assistant, she was directly involved with his wife and children. For the 2 years, she made sure the kids were always kept busy, because she was saying Rob was always busy. He was always in the studio, or he was somewhere working with someone or writing songs. So she had to make sure that the kids were kept busy. They took trips, things like that. She said he would stay in the studio from night into daylight, and then he wanted her to make sure his kids were pretty much taken care of and kept busy. At the time, he would have some engineers there, and he had a band there at the time too, because you never knew when a song would come in. So he kept them around constantly, just in case, he needed them at that time. So when she started saying like his schedule, the judge had interrupted and said every day. And she was like, yes, every day, this was his schedule. And then as he was talking about the engineers being there, now me on the opposite end, I'm looking at it like he's asking, is the engineers and the band always there? Because he had to catch those times when a song will come to him. The reason he's asking, because if all these people is there, how can he be accused of doing half the stuff he's doing when it's a ton of people that are witnesses? The judge proceeded to say she don't see any relevance to his questioning, so basically telling Koenig to move forward. For some reason, when they asked about the A-list artist, there was an objection. So he rephrased the question. He said, what time would Rob's day begin? About 4 p.m. As far as his properties, she had access to the Olympia Fields, Trump, and the Johns Creek properties. Did they have locks on the doors? No. Were the phones rigged to only call certain numbers? She said no. She said, I've never heard of that. Responsibilities for the guests, it would be so her responsibilities for guests, and guests could be anyone from record labels to A-list celebrities. She mentioned Whitney Houston. She said people who played basketball with his female friends, some girlfriends, and then they talked about some girlfriends who live with him. Koenig asked, will celebrities bring their entourage with them? She said yes. Did Rob have certain procedures in his home for his guests? Yes, he had rules that applied to everyone that came, and it was applied for everyone. But guess who these rules came from, y'all? Drea. The rules started with her. When she left, he just kept everything the same. So those were her rules. For nobody to walk around her house unescorted. You knocked on doors when you went into a room. All of that stuff. Those were her rules. She also had to be escorted into some room or knock on doors too. Let me see. When she was there were some living girlfriends for an extended period of time. Some came and went many times. She said correct. You see any questions? Yeah, Dom, this was another witness for the defense. Well, actually, all the witnesses today was for the defense. Not aware. Okay, they asked if Rob had paid for Anna's apartment. We all know Anna wilding out. She said she's not she's not aware of that. She said Juice did have a car and a job, and she was able to come and go. Dominique as well was able to come and go. Sarah never stayed at the house, and she came and went. They asked testified to taking shopping, and she was said she was just it wasn't part of her responsibilities, but it's just part of something that she did. She said Rob was splurged, yes. At high-end stores, yes. Cosmetic procedures, yes. Gifts, yes. Parties for them, yes. Rental getaways, yes. Exotic pets, yes. Trips abroad, yes. He afforded them in a very exotic lifestyle, yes. Remember, they asked if she remembered him saying to call him daddy, yes. And then Canning said, well, isn't daddy a term of endearment? It was an objection, sustained. He wanted to, she said, I sustain this next question. Yeah, she told him, I'm sustaining this, go to the next. She said, and this is when the judge had said, he was like, Your Honor, okay, I'm gonna ask the question. She said, well, pretty much, if you ask the next question, I'm gonna sustain that too. If it's the question that I think it is, I'm gonna sustain that too. So he just said, yeah, I'm gonna need a sidebar, Your Honor. So they did a sidebar, came back, and he asked, in his song Chocolate Factory, did he not refer to himself as daddy? And she was saying, I don't remember. And he said, okay, I refresh. And then the judge said, no, you won't. And then Canning said it again, well, I'm going to refresh. And then the judge said, well, I will sustain. And then he asked the question over in a different way. He said, you do know he has a song called Chocolate Factory? Yes. You don't remember testifying? Wait. You don't remember, and it was sustained, so he couldn't ask the question about daddy. But that's what he was going to say again. You testified that the girls would kiss him. Well, when he walked into a room, they would stand up and they would kiss him. And he said, but when he came into a room, he would stand up. When his girlfriends came into the room, he would actually stand up for them. He would even stand up for her anytime she came into a room. And he would also open all the doors for the women and whoever the women were in the room or in the house. Correct. He hired personal assistants for them to make sure everybody was good. She said correct. They asked, when you traveled on the tour bus, was there a rule about knocking on the door before you came out? She said yes. So if you guys recall, Azriel said that she had to knock on the bathroom door from the inside in order to come out of the bathroom, but she wasn't explaining why she had to do that. So she said yes, because there was, like they said, a microwave right behind that door, and if somebody was boiling like some hot water, heating up hot water in the microwave, and you open that door, it would hit them, and then they would burn themselves because of the spillover. So they tried to leave that part out. So she said, take tours. She said during the tour, sometimes when they would be traveling, they'll be out in the middle of nowhere. So at that time, they had maybe no phone service, no restrooms or anything like that. Correct. He asked, well, were you aware of the cups they peed in? And she said, no, she never witnessed that. She didn't, but she did hear about it. But for the most part, she don't know anything about it because she never witnessed it or had that having to be done. But I'm guessing that's when they had to use cups, and like I think it was Suzette that said everybody used the cups. So now we know why, because they were in the middle of nowhere. They had no choice. The runners were there to do what Rob had asked. The girls had assistants and also the runners. Sometimes she rode with them, or sometimes when she rode in the car with the guys, with the runners or whatever, she said that they would flip the mirror up. And she said, well, she really didn't mind it too much because she really didn't want to make the eye contact with the guys or, or have any convo. So them flipping the mirror up was not a problem for her. Let me see. Yeah, it wasn't a problem for her. So again, it wasn't just his girlfriends that he did that. It was just females in general. She said she wore sweats too when she was accompanying the girls to places. She escorted them to bathrooms only when. Okay, so y'all remember when Faith told the story about Diana taking her to the bathroom and actually waiting in the stall for her, and she was just like that. Just surprised her. She never had that happen before, so it was just something new to her. Well, Diana said that wasn't actually the case. Anytime they went to a venue that was unfamiliar to them, she would always, the first thing she would do was go look for all the bathrooms. So when she found the bathrooms and they had to go, she obviously is the only person that know where the bathrooms is. So she escorted the girls to the bathroom. That particular incident that Faith was talking about, she said she never waited at the stall because it was an individual bathroom. She waited outside the door for her. But get this, she also escorted Rob to the bathroom. So that was another lie. Go to the next. She said she would never give. Faith testified that Rob would always try to give her alcohol and Diana would be the one to go and do it. She said she would never have gave Faith alcohol because she didn't even drink. So she was actually the last person he would send anybody to, or anybody would go to get alcohol. She said she interacted with the store people. Remember how they testified that they weren't allowed to interact with the store personnel, especially if it was a male? Well, she said that was the case for Rob and the girls. It wasn't just for the girls. Rob also did not interact with the women or the men at the store. No guests were free to walk around his home. They asked when you met with the government, your attorney was with you. Yes. You met with them several times. Yes. More than 10. Yes. More than 20. Yes. More than 30. No. She met with them all at times, and she still ended up being a witness for the defense.
You forgot about the when she go to the prosecutor's office. Did she roam around there?
What?
This about the going to the prosecutor. Did you go to the bathroom? Did you roam around when you went to their office?
To who office?
He asked her about when she went to visit the prosecutor.
Oh.
Did they allow her to roam around and go to where? When she escorted to go here, or escorted to go there?
Yeah, she did. Okay. I didn't get that down, so you had to tell that part. Okay, so did they suggest the verbiage for you to use? She says, no, I don't think so. They did express a certain language they wanted her to use. Yes. Get this, y'all. They told her to use Rob directed, instructed, demanded, yes, commanded, no. She says, before they asked, he said, before that, you never heard him say those words, right? Correct. Did the government suggest that you say that? She hesitated to answer and then said, well, they did tell that to her, but it's almost like they said it, but they didn't tell her to say it. But it was almost like where she was being told to repeat it in that verbiage. So that's where we get directed. What did I say? Directed, instructed, or demanded. What y'all think about the government? Shame. Anybody over here? It's a shame. Hey, everybody over there. Sylvia, I don't know how to do this. Okay. So, part of your job was to make travel arrangements. Yes, for girlfriends, business execs, anyone pretty much who he asked her to make travel arrangements for. The instructions for the travel arrangements was a little bit different when it came to the hotels. They said you testified about Joy being in the elevator. Yes. He asked, they're still together, right? And she says, well, I don't know. The same response for Rob's. Yes, you wanted to make sure. They asked, you basically As far as Rob's security, they had the yes, he had the security. He wanted to make sure the girls were safe. He was safe. The blinds were always pulled up for security purposes. Correct. Um, there were always 3 to 4 security personnel. There was one security guard for the girlfriends, who was Candy, to make sure that they were safe. Basically, she said that he had that because he was a lot of paranoid. He wanted to make sure, again, him and his girlfriends were safe constantly. Yes. Testified about the fitness center. She needed to use the bathroom. Speaking about Anna, when she talked about how they were calling Rob, but he was in the gym. His phone was probably in his bag in a locker or something, and he wasn't getting to it. She had to use the bathroom. This is just a recap. She had to use the bathroom, but she didn't want to go unless Diana spoke to Rob first. So they asked, "Did you prevent her from going to the bathroom?" No. You wanted her to go, correct? Yes. Rob ever tell you not to let her go? No. She said, actually, he was upset because I didn't press her to go and I let her wait. They asked, sometimes you made fictional names for hotels. Yes. Is that normal for celebrities to do? Yes. Do you? So if y'all recall, Anna Wildin' Out Girl, she testified that it was actually Lily that had told Rob that she was smoking marijuana in his garage. Well, it wasn't. It was Diana. Then they asked her, did you recall Anna smoking? Yes. You called Rob? Yes. He and Anna had an exchange? Yes. She was upset? Yes. He didn't let her go on a cruise after that? Yes. So she left him? Yes. And then she returned? Yes. Part of the testimony last week was Rob and her had convo, said someone had said, you let Anna escape. So y'all remember that he got the phone call in the park a couple of days after the issue happened, and he basically told her, I just got a phone call where they said you let such and such escape. So she said, yes. Rob never used the word escape. Correct. When you testified, you were saying Rob repeated what someone else had said. Correct. Yeah. Have you ever in 15 years tried to convince someone not to leave? Never. Have you ever seen him physically try to stop someone from leaving? Never. Have you had him order someone else to try to stop someone from leaving? Never. He basically went on to say Rob just didn't want anybody to take the items that he brought, and then there was an objection, and then he just proceeded to the next question and said, did you ever try to stop someone from leaving? No. You testified seeing a gun behind you? Yes. She said she got about 12 inches away. She didn't examine it. She said she's never in 15 years seen him with a gun in his possession. She said it was just that night. There were other engineers there. She can't say who else was in the bar area where she seen it. They asked, you didn't like some of the rules. She said correct, but you again quit and returned. Rules were still in place, the same rules, right? She said yes. Did he ever instruct you to recruit women? She said no. Did he instruct anyone else to recruit women? No. And then they just asked. He asked him if she had witnessed some of the rooftop dinners that he gave the girl. She said yes. Give me 1 second. You going? You going to the store? Okay, I'll be in there once I finish it. Okay. The computer you spoke of, that computer had all of Rob's info in it. So we going back to the computer that she said came up missing when she was in the studio in the lounge. She said yes. It was basically used to assist Rob. Yes, so that all of his information was in there. Correct. The last stint was to try. So her last stint was basically to come in and try to track down money that was missing. And when they said that the prosecution objected. He asked, you also were involved in some of his contracts. She said yes. Hold on, y'all. Unscripted Angel. Yep, I'm a Capricorn too. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. So she was saying Rob generated money from royalties, his songwritings. It was a lot. Y'all, it totaled over millions and millions and millions of dollars. I actually did some research, and did y'all know that on Spotify alone, if everybody streams, well, his stuff is being streamed 5 million times, and if them 5 million people that streaming his music, if they do 3 songs, that's $700,000 a year right there from just Spotify that man is getting. That's crazy. Where is that money going? So they say, he was millions of dollars. She was brought in to try to help him track down to find out where this money is going. In 15 years, have you ever seen him lock a girlfriend in the room? Never. Ever asked you or any other staff to lock a girl in the room? Never. What about food? Was he ever denied food? He ever denied food or water to anyone? No. Did he ask you or anyone else to deny food or water to anyone? No. He said, isn't it correct that the girlfriends all had Uber Eats accounts? Correct. And they had runners and assistants to go get them food when they wanted it, whenever they wanted it. She said, that's correct. Could they get their own food? Correct. Ever see any employee deny anybody any of these things? Never. No further questions from the defense. The prosecution redirected. She said, is it fair to say it's hard for you to testify? She said yes. Part is because your name's been out there. So they tried to say, like, she didn't want to testify because her name is all out here in the media and stuff, and she don't want to look bad. And then she said, no, that's not the reason. Are you concerned about how the media will react to your testimony? She said no. So now, mind you, I did write down. She said her exact words, no, I am not. The government paused for a long time because that's what they do when their witness says something that they're not expecting them to say. So she paused for a minute. You can tell she's probably a little bit upset. They said, well, do you recall questions about stealing? Are you the only one who wrote the letter? She said, no. I believe others did. Did you ever steal from him? No. You wrote that letter because Rob told you to. Correct. He said it was attorney's idea. Yes. Whose choice was it to wear those clothes? Mine. Rob never told you what to wear? Never. You were allowed to roam Olympia Fields. Yes. You said it was his wife's idea. Yes, it was. Was the wife there after the 2 years? No. And the rules still stayed? Yes. What was they trying to say? What is they trying to prove? So she left and he kept things the exact same way. But it was still her idea, her rules that nobody had. Why ain't Dre on trial? Why did she racketeering? Okay, I'm going to stay focused, y'all, because I know these be long. I'm sorry. I ain't cursed yet.
Oh, good.
See, I ain't cursed.
You let people see me in the bed. You know that, right?
Well, you shouldn't have got in the bed. I got to be up. Okay, y'all. Okay, so you testify you would interact with the salespeople for Rob's and his girlfriends. Yes. You interacted with both female and male when you were with Rob. Correct. With the girlfriends, only the males, not women. Correct. Again, what's your point? So they were allowed to speak to women. That's fine. He didn't speak to men or women because he probably saying if they can't speak to the men, well, I'm not going to speak to the women, and I don't want to speak to the men just because I ain't got to speak to the men. So if I'm paying somebody to do this for me, why not let her do her job? Where's the crime? Okay, so who was in charge for the day-to-day basis of how everything was ran? Robert. Who was your boss? Robert. He gave you direction? Yes. When he asked you to do something, you were aware it was all something he asked you to do? Correct. Asked you to do many things? Correct. Because he was your boss? Correct. He asked you to help out with female guests and living guests? Yes. Did you? Yes. We established all of that from day one. Why are we still going back and forth, wasting everybody's time? We established all of this. But again, this is a trial. Okay, so you said you saw Anna smoking marijuana. Yes. Who told him? You. Yes. You did that because that was something he needed to know. It was because there were rules and she was breaking the rules. So she told. They said, well, did you look at yourself as the one? Did you look at what that was one of your responsibilities to be an extension of Rob when he was not there? Yes. So basically, if he's not here, she's in charge. Again, somebody tell me where's the crime? Am I missing it?
No crime.
We got any lawyers on here? Anybody?
No crime.
Where's the crime?
None.
Okay. I'm I don't know I ain't been to law school or anything, so I'm just asking because it could be going I don't know. No crime. Okay. Okay, so she asked about the computer. Did he buy you another one? No. Did he reimburse you? No. Have you ever gotten it back? No. Okay, so I guess you are supposed to sit in jail for 2.5 years if someone's property comes up missing in your in your residence or your studio or whatever. So because he didn't replace it, he didn't reimburse it, and he didn't buy a new one, reimburse the money. Is that Rico? I'm still looking for the. Okay. She laughed at me, so I'm assuming that's not Rico.
No, it's not Rico.
Okay. Were you present to hear all the interactions with girlfriends? She says no, because they said, well, basically you were there for 15 years. There was a ton of girlfriends that came and went in 15 years. When you're testifying, you're just speaking of overall group of girlfriends. You're not speaking for every individual girlfriend. She said correct. About the bathroom, they went back to about the bathroom. Did Anna ask you to call Rob? She said yes. She said, when you called him, did you make contact with him? No. We all know that. His phone was in a locker. Ugh. Asked about girlfriends, female guests, correct. About things you were, the defense asked you about things that were afforded to them, correct. You answered yes to a lot of the defense questions, yes. Can you speak for the many girlfriends he's had over 15 years? No, you cannot say you. Okay, I said that. So basically, they said you answered a lot of the defense questions. Yes, and she said yes. It was true. She's on the oath, right? Asked about Rob's reading and writing, correct. Did you communicate by text to him? Yes. Did you text him? Yes. Did you receive text from him? Yes. Did you help him to read text? Yes. How did he text? She said he did talk to text. Did you draft some of his texts? Yes. Were you relieved when talk to text came about? Yes. Took away some of your responsibilities? Yes. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Am I missing something? What the heck was that questioning all about? What does it matter? He talked to text. He basically saying before talk to text. So if anybody want to Google when did that feature become available, before talk to text, she said that she drafted his text messages and she read them. So if he was saying something incriminating or something, why would she allow that? Why would she text that? Why would she do that? And then she wouldn't have had to do it if she's trying to say he can't read, because he wouldn't have been able to read what she was texting anyway. So if you're trying to say that he wrote something that was incriminating, why would she be breaking the law? What's the purpose of that whole set of questions? Okay, anyway. Direct. Wait a minute. Okay, this is not direct. This is back to the cross-examination. Direct is when the prosecution is questioning them. So, okay, you were asked about roaming the house. You were kind of like the CEO of the house, is what Kenick is asking her, because she managed it. She said yes. So you were at nature to be able to roam. She said yes, but she still knocked on a door before she entered the room still. Correct. Part of your task was to assist to make sure that the girls were safe and that their needs of the girlfriend and their needs were met for the girlfriends and of the guests. Correct. Do you know who took your computer? No. It had all Rob's info in it. Correct. Yes. Did you file a police report? Yes. They said, as far as Anna being on the bus, you told us Rob was mad because you didn't take her. Is that correct? Yes. Nothing further. So after that, the judge decides he wants to speak to the deputy and said they were going to take a little bit longer of a break. So it was going to be 20 minutes instead of 10. We started at 12 today, so there wasn't really a lunch, but there were about 3 breaks. Any questions on Diana because she was done for the day? True that. Are you on your phone looking at any of these questions?
Mm-hmm.
I need my glasses. Okay. So the next one witness, we're gonna call her Angela.
You know who that is.
Angela. She was a witness for the prosecution. Exhibit 82 was a picture of herself. Today she is 44 years old, birthday 11/1976. She's out of Chicago, Illinois. She has a degree, which I don't believe, in clinical massage therapy. She has her GED. She stopped in 1991. She got her GED in 2008. She's actually employed for retail, and she's a clinical massage therapist.
She's a what?
She's a clinical massage therapist.
She got a master's degree, you said?
Nah, hell no. We ain't gonna even go that far. Ain't telling no lies on this live tonight. They be trying to throw off the questions. Yeah, well, they messed up on that one. That didn't work. 2011 for iPhones with voice text. So that means all these other times he was texting and stuff, he wasn't sending the text messages. It's basically before 2011. She identified RKelly in a room. She said she met him in 1991 in the middle of freshman, sophomore year. She was about 14, 15 years old. She wanted to sing. She said sing that, oh my God, y'all, her testimony was so annoying.
Oh my gosh, she's smart mouth.
It wasn't that she was smart mouth, y'all, but she was trying to make herself seem like she was smarter than she really was. This probably is the only. She know we don't call no daggone living room. What did she call it? The community room. She said something, but it was something that we do not refer to. It's a damn living room.
What about suckling?
She literally had to take her the testimony that they gave her to say, or whatever that was. She took it home and she studied it like it was a test. I swear to y'all, that whole testimony, I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to write this stuff down because blasphemy.
She suckled.
Blasphemy. She suckled.
Suckled. What is that word?
When did she use suckle?
Remember she said with fondling and suckled.
Oh my God. Okay, y'all gotta wait for the transcripts to get that. When she do the transcript reading of this one, y'all gonna trip out. Bring y'all dictionaries.
I can't wait.
Because I was just like, and she really gonna sit here and act like the government did not tell her to say half of this stuff and put it in a term, because she know damn well that did not happen. And yeah, just wait on that transcript. So she said she worked as, y'all gonna know, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, y'all will. Oh, I said my first curse word. Man, she
messed you up.
She messed me up. Y'all had to be. I promise you, but I'm still doing good because I should be saying a whole lot more.
That one. There's a couple of cuss.
Did she shave her mustache for the occasion? I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you.
Oh my God! Somebody said the mustache.
She said she.
Y'all know she be on the chat, y'all.
She could be on the chat. What? I'm from Chicago too. What's up?
She in there. She in the chat. She be spark.
Hey, Angela. Hi, girl. He suckled you. Okay. Being serious. All right, leave me alone, Sylvia.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so she worked as a backup dancer. Wait, hold on.
Look, she was a singer and a back dancer.
She wanted to sing and dance, and then she said entertainment. She spent time. She spent regular time there with him. Yes, all through the mid-90s. She worked as a backup dancer. She stopped as a backup dancer, and then but she would still see him on occasions up until 98. First met at his apartment. She said she met with a friend, Tiffany, whom she had only met 2 days prior to that meeting with Rob. Tiffany attended Kenwood Academy. Tiffany wanted to be a singer. When she invited her, she said she didn't know who Rob was. Tiffany explained and said, show her the Vibe video and said that's who he was. And then she said, okay, let's go. She said then there were two. Okay. She said there were two, and I know she said it because I wrote it. There were only two other young ladies that went. They were both there. They were both in high school at the time. How many had? Wait, how many? How long have you known the girls? She's okay. They said how long have you known the girls? She said she met one the day before she met Tiffany, and then she said she knew the two other girls from a day prior. So then the government was like, hold on. So how many girls are you saying was actually there? So then she had to clean it up because she's saying testifying to 3 girls instead of just the 2. So then they asked her, well, did you recognize anyone in the apartment? And she said no. She did learn their nicknames. Yes. Did you learn their real names? Yes. Demetrius, who they called Johnny. BK, who was Bruce Kelly. Larry Hood. That was Rob's first manager back in the day when he was 17, 16. So that was the first person. Did you learn Demetrius' role? Yes, he was a role manager. Larry Hood was his childhood BFF, and he was also a Chicago police officer. When they arrived at the apartment, what did they do? They played dozens and Yo Mama jokes. So it was basically they were just joking around. Everyone there had participated. She kept calling. I had to make note of that because she kept saying, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So she kept calling the government, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was the way y'all will get the script. I'm just moving forward. I'm waiting to get the script.
You gonna play her?
No, I ain't playing her. That heifer pissed me off. No.
Because you know how she acts.
No. Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. When I okay.
You gotta play that part.
Don't recall how long the game went on. She said she was in a room that was across from the kitchen. Y'all know what? I couldn't even spell the word that she used. That's why I had to say she was just in a room across from the kitchen. What did she call that room? It was a living room she was in, y'all. But yes, she fake cried, y'all. Yes, y'all already know. She starts crying at that same part every time. Yes, she faked cry. She's a comedian is what she is.
The people in the news people what is she crying for?
I was told the reporters asked in the overflow room, what is she crying for? Yeah, she did that fake crime. Anybody over here got a I wish I was there. I'm watching you on my YouTube TV. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. So she said it happened in the living room across from the kitchen. She said Rob went into another room, and then all the ladies went in one by one, and they asked, how did it happen? She said, I don't recall if Tiffany or Rob had asked her to come in. Said the other women were standing in different spots, unrobing. One was taking off a shirt, one was taking off a pants. So I guess the room had corners, and in each corner there was a girl in the corner taking off their clothes. But of all the girls, he asked her to come climb on top of him and straddle him.
What was
ride
she doing?
him.
Condom?
Sylvia, I ain't got to that part.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, yeah. So she said Rob told her to climb on top of him, and she said she paused, and then she was just like, oh, okay. And then she said she just did what he told her to do. She said Rob asked to ride him, and she asked him if he could get a condom. She said she was about 14 or 15. He said he didn't have a condom. She said she did and asked if she could get it. She said she doesn't remember if she got it from if she got it or if someone else had got it. She said she began to ride him. He did penetrate her. She said Rob had sex with her more than once. And he had sex with more than one of them. And he had sexual contact with all of them. So meaning he only had sex with maybe one or two in the room. But when they asked about the sexual contact, she said he was fondling breasts, fondling butt, and fingering another girl. Is what she said happened. She said, and then at some point they all left the room. The guys were still in the other room, and at some point they left. She said she went to his house at night. Is when she went to the apartment, so they also came out at night. Rob invited them to come back the following day. Yes, seen him every day for a lot of years. She's seen him at CRC recording studio or the apartment. She gave the full addresses for all of these places, y'all. I mean, she was like, his apartment was at 8 Southwest, blah, 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 apartment 3, Chicago, Illinois. Who does? Like, really? And this was over.
But they couldn't remember how much.
I ain't got that yet, Sylvia. So then she remembered, and then she remembered the exact look, y'all. She said, "Oh, CRC studio. It was on the corner like Wabash and Erie. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I think it was Ohio. Right now, it's an Apple store, and it's right by the beach, right before you get to. I mean, she names everything, and she's still stalking the place because she going to the Apple store, especially that one now every day, probably. Let me see. She was saying." Who did you go with? She said she went there every day with Tiffany. And then every day there was a different assortment of young ladies. When do we use the word assortment of young ladies? Come on, let's be real, y'all. Come on, I know somebody in this chat has used the word. When do you use the word assortment of ladies? When? Somebody tell me. Please, somebody tell me. Assortment of ladies. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait. Somebody tell me that they actually say that. Assortment like they candy. Y'all, so that right there, it's just little shit like that. It's like, which one of them government prosecutors wrote her shit out? That don't make no sense. It really don't make no sense,
That's
y'all.
not the way she talking Larry's chat.
Well, all they got to do is go pull up her videos on IG and everything else, and they will see this heifer is lying just from the way. It's not even her testimony. It's just from the way she was simply sitting up in there trying to talk and carry herself and act like that ain't even you. We don't do that. She lying. Assortment of chocolates. She's stupid. But I know she know people, getting these transcripts and stuff, and then she want to be read a certain type of way. So when the movie come out, she think her part is gonna be bigger than what it was.
Assortment.
Got it in the laundry room. That's crazy. Okay, so then she proceeded to say, she stopped going to school. Yes, she said Rob gave her an option one day. She said they were at the apartment and they were getting ready to leave. And he was like, where y'all going? She was like, oh, we going home. We got school tomorrow. And then he was like, listen, if you're going to sing, you're going to have to sing. You can't sing and go to school. So you're going to have to choose. And she said that she chose to sing. Okay.
When do a 14?
You are 14, 15 years old. When can a person, period, that's not your parent, tell you that you can just stop going to school just so you can sing? When does that ever happen? How are you able to make that decision and you 14 and 15 years old? I ain't even begun to tell y'all. Wait till I get to the rest of the stuff she said.
Gonna be some good stuff.
Oh my God, yes, she was coached. She was very much so coached. But how can you make that decision? So at 14, 15, she said she was a freshman, sophomore. She said she was a sophomore. Wouldn't that be more like 8th grade freshman or something like that? Okay, well, I don't know. But yeah, she basically saying Rob told her to drop out of school. But if we go back, so all of a sudden he's this person that's telling these girls to drop out of school. Yet when Azriel come into the picture, she's not allowed to leave the room because she's so far. Well, it's not that she wasn't allowed to leave the room, but she wasn't allowed to go on his tour or to his show because she hadn't finished her homework. So he gave them specific instructions. She has to get caught up on her homework before y'all can bring her to the next show. Make that make sense. One person he's telling to drop out of school. The next person he's telling to stay in school, and he's buying laptops and stuff for it to make sure they complete school. Nobody else is dropped out because of Rob. So it's just this one person just got to drop out of school because she got to sing. He ain't make Aaliyah drop out of school. Who else he worked with?
I got a question for you. Somebody said, did she say she was put out because of a fight?
No, that's not what she said. I'm finna get to that. Okay, let me keep going. That's okay. About whoever asked about, did she say she was put out because of a fight? I'm finna tell you right now what happened. Y'all gonna laugh at that too. Okay, that was a school. Okay, so they talked about she had sex with Rob many times on the road and in the apartment. He also fondled her. She said she went to the apartment many times. They asked her to describe it. Basically, it was small, 2 rooms, living room, kitchen, bathroom. Living room was called whatever that word is, I don't know. It's a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. How old were you having sex with him? She said 15, 16, 17. Before it was 14, 15, and 16. Remember, she said 14, 15. But now it's 15, 16, 17. Did you want to have sex with him? No. They asked her basically, why did you do it? She told them, well, keep in mind, I had just met these ladies from before. Now, these ladies is ladies that she came in with. They wasn't there already. She said she met them prior to meeting Tiffany. So she met them before they went to Rob's house. So she wants us to keep in mind that she just met these ladies before. So she thought that she would get jumped if she didn't do it. How stupid is that? Does that sound stupid, y'all?
Very stupid.
They couldn't write out a better script for her. She thought she was going to get jumped. And then she said, after that, he would basically tell her, "Oh, you got to pay your dues," or you had to pay your dues. And then he would tell her to go get some new girls, or go get some girls, or go get some new talent. That's what he would tell her. She said she was employed as a dancer around 92. How old were you? 16. So basically, she was saying the first year she wasn't employed. She didn't become employed until she was about 16 and 92. Did you travel with him via tour bus? Yes. Were you paid? She said yes and no. It was a lot of little smart ass comments and stuff up in here, y'all, too. It wasn't even worth me even writing it down. Y'all seen how she acted on Surviving RKelly. So imagine times 10 in the courtroom. She was extra as hell. She said they was given a per diem and cash for food. It was used for food and things like that. She said if she was given a check, none of the checks went through. She even named the bank. It was Oak Street Bank and this and that. How you remember all that, G? How you remember that? She said they showed her a picture of Aaliyah. They asked who it is. She said, yes, I do. That's Aaliyah Dana Houghton. Whole name.
The whole damn name.
Whole name. In between,
I didn't even know Aaliyah's middle name.
And then Oh, she did. She was studying that shit. Okay, so they talked about her passing. She passed on it. We all know the helicopter plane crash. She said she met January of 92. Prior to meeting, he had talked to. Wait a minute. In 92, Aaliyah wasn't 12. She was 13. Because I was 12 in 92.
The girl lying.
I just told my age. Y'all didn't hear that. She lied. Okay, y'all. She had said that she met Aaliyah in January 92. She said prior to her meeting, Rob did talk to her.
That would have made her 16. Aaliyah would have been 16. You had that 1978.
No, Aaliyah's a year older than me. So in 92, Aaliyah would have been 13. Her birthday would have been that she met. No. Oh, okay. So hold on, y'all. No. No.
What year were you born?
Let me finish. Okay. She said that she met Aaliyah on her birthday. My birthday, I'm a Capricorn. My birthday is January the 13th, blah, blah. Damn, that was too much. I wish I could rewind this. Okay, anyway, I'm a Capricorn. Aaliyah's a year older than me. Aaliyah's birthday is what? January 16th? January 15th? 16th? The 16th. So she's born in 79. So that means Aaliyah would have been 13. She said Aaliyah was 12 at this time. She said that Rob talked to her about Aaliyah and said that Aaliyah was the next hottest wave out of Detroit.
12. Oh my God. Sorry.
She was saying that Aaliyah was turning 12.
12.
And Aaliyah was actually turning 13. She said Rob introduced them at the CRC studio. Rob, Aaliyah, and her brother Rashad, Tiffany, and other was there.
No, she didn't say them yet.
She said Rob, Aaliyah, her brother Rashad, Tiffany was there.
Not yet. She said Tiffany afterwards.
Girl, can I finish this?
Okay.
And then she said she was there. Anyone else there? She said yes, she was. But I put like, we know you was there. Duh. They said you were given a choice to sing or go to school. She said yes. Were there any other girls with you that were singing? Meaning, was she in a different singing group? She said yes. She was one with Tiffany. Yes. She said, and the other girls? She said yes. Were they with you when you met Aaliyah? Yes. They show her a picture of Tiffany, herself, and the other person. They didn't give a name. So that just means that's somebody that's not testifying. So they didn't give a name of that person. They were the members of the group. This is when she actually started acting like she was crying. The name of that group was called Second Chance, Second Coming. I wrote it down somewhere up in here. What did Rob tell? Okay, what did Rob tell Aaliyah they were? He said they told Aaliyah that we were going to be her background singers, like public announcement was for her. Told her that they were there to give her some street vibes and be her friends as well. He named them Second Chapter. Do you recall saying anything about the day? He just said it was her birthday. He told us exactly how old she was. Exactly how old she would be that year. She was 12 years old. Lies. She was 13. She was not 12. She fucked up the script. Excuse my language. She messed up. She didn't study this part enough. She was 13. She was not 12. She said she's
12.
So stupid. She sang her daily. At the studio hotel, they would sneak her out and take her on the train. She said we hung out all over the south side of Chicago. That would never happen today. She said it was her and Tiffany. She said she was working on her first album. Rob wrote and produced it. It was called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Aaliyah would stay at the Best Inn in Chicago with her mother occasionally, and then she had a chaperone and then sometimes her brother, but she did mention they were not always around. She said she was a backup dancer. When they had a performance. They was actually on tour, and they did Gerald Levert was one of the performers as well. That was, she said, 93-ish, and at that time she was maybe 17. She said, oh well, that's when she was realizing she was getting her dates and stuff mixed up. So she said, well, maybe I was 17. Well, maybe it was between 92 and 93. So maybe I was 16 or 17. Then she said, well, I don't know the exact date. How did you travel by tour bus? She said it was more than one bus. Describe the tour bus where there was sleeping bunks, main cabin, bathroom. There were some tables, little small tables and stuff, she said. This tour was in Washington, D.C. They were there for a couple of days. She don't recall the hotel, but she recalled all 10 addresses from 30 years ago. She said Robbie came upset with her more than once. What she can recall is Tiffany, Aaliyah, another dancer, they went to a splash party that Gerald Levert was having. And Rob had always told them not to associate with other artists because he said he didn't want these people dropping no drugs or anything on his bus. And she said that he always felt like somebody was out to get him. So he didn't want them around a lot of artists and stuff and somebody be setting them up or something like that. And he didn't want anyone associating with them. She basically said he didn't want anyone looking at his girls. It was somebody else more recently that used that term, his girls. And that's why I feel she heard it, and that's what she picked that up, and she made that a part of her testimony. Public announcement, Rob, his entourage, they were allowed to go to an after party. They was told to stay. This is Aaliyah, Tiffany, the old girl, and whoever the other dancer was. They was told to stay in the hotel and not leave. Now, mind you, these girls is 13, 14, 15 years old, so why would they be going to an after party anyway? They didn't do that. They left to go to they went to a 7-Eleven. What they said, Aaliyah she couldn't perform or anything anyway because she was underage. But so she was just basically there just to get a feel. So now Tiffany, she was just there to get give me 1 second, y'all, because my live on Facebook isn't working. Hold on.
Somebody calling you, isn't it?
No, this the live. They saying mine is. Can y'all see me on this live? Oh, yeah, somebody asked where was her parents. Oh, I ain't got to that part yet. I'm going to tell you what she said. Perjury isn't a thing in this case. No. Okay. So, okay, y'all. So they said Aaliyah just traveled with them so she could just get the experience and see what it was like to be on the road and things like that, you know, so she could actually get the up close and personal feel of how it feels to perform in front of big crowds and things like that. So she said they went to the 7-Eleven, and when they left the 7-Eleven, they had thought they got lost. And then she said they seen a group of guys coming, and Aaliyah started freaking out, saying, Rob told us not to leave. We should have stayed where we were at. But then come to find out it was Rob with his security and his guys and stuff looking for them. And then she said what Rob says to her, it was due time to pay your dues. So that basically meant it was time for him to have sex with them. I don't even sound right, y'all. She said by that time it had been a while since she had sex with him, but not sexual contact. And when she said that, she was meaning like sometimes he would still pull down his pants or ask her to fondle him or some stuff like that. But they hadn't had actual sex. She said she didn't have sex with him that night either. He told them he would tell each one of them when they can come up. And she said she told him no. And she told him that she would call her mother, and her mother would have her on a private jet faster than he could have her on a commercial plane. Yeah, that's what she said, y'all. That's exactly what she said. She said her mother, the one who allowed this child to probably drop out of school At 14, 15 years old, whichever year we want to believe she was really in, will have her on a private jet back home faster than RKelly would have on a commercial plane. Okay. She said after she told him that, he said, I was just playing. So she said she stayed on the tour, so she didn't go home. She stayed on the tour. She said the next incident was them playing with water. They were basically just doing pranks. She said Rob had named the game All Out GD Fucking. The game playing pranks was called All Out GD Fucking. I don't know why Rob would name anything GD when he's not a GD. So I don't know. Y'all got to ask somebody closer to him. But to my understanding, he's not a GD. So why would he name it GD Fucking? I don't know. She said Rob named it that. They started playing pranks, and they continued to play pranks even when they were playing pranks in the hotel, and they continued to play the pranks while they were getting onto the bus. Basically, they were just throwing water on everybody. They actually had the hotel room service opening the door, and they was throwing water on public announcement and stuff in the hotel room. So that she says when they got on the bus, I guess they had found out some type of way that Rob was on the bus or something. So she said she slightly opened the door. Somebody go back to Surviving RKelly. What she say there? The door popped open, right? Well, in this story, she slightly opened the door and saw Rob and Aaliyah in a sexual act. She's described that he was giving her oral sex.
That's not what she said on Larry.
That's not what I'm hearing. She said on some other YouTube channels. I didn't listen to the chick. I didn't have to listen to it to know that she lying in this courtroom either. She said Aaliyah was sitting on a small couch with her legs open, and Rob was on his knees with his head between her legs. She said she backed out and she pushed the girl behind her back out. She didn't know, she didn't have any idea that they were being sexual. She did not talk to him about it. She stopped being around him or sometime around the download tour. That's when she began working for Sparkle. So that goes the connection right there with Sparkle. She became her dancer. She said she did continue to see Rob in passing at the studio and things like that. Let me see. Okay, did you participate in Surviving RKelly? Yes. What did you provide? Photos only of me. How much were you paid? I don't recall. Do you have any idea as to how much you were given? Don't recall the dollar amount. They asked her again. She said, okay, maybe a few grand. Did you talk about Aaliyah? Yes. Did you talk about him having sex with you? No. Why? I was embarrassed and I didn't even want anyone to know I was ever in that situation. Hold on. She went from a background dancer to a full dancer with the lady. Yes, she did. Background singer, background dancer, whatever. Yeah, she did. So Auntie Sparkle didn't know the mule slept with him, allegedly. I mean, I see if she went to go be a dancer for Sparkle, but yet it's rumored that Sparkle was sleeping with Rob. And she, y'all know she called Sparkle mom. So didn't she work at AutoZone? Yeah, she did. So where was her mother all of this time? Right, exactly. So that was the point of her in her earlier testimony saying she had a chaperone, she had a mother, she had a brother that was there, but then turned around and said, oh, but they wasn't always there. So what was the purpose of them ever being there if they weren't going to always be there? Make that make sense?
Why get a chaperone?
Why bother if they're not going to always be there? She said she was trained from day one to protect Rob. Protect him from what can a 14-year-old protect a grown-ass man from? I don't know. Okay. Cross-examination. So Kanik is up. So you were hired in 92. Now how old were you? 16. Did Rob have you sign a contract? No. Did you go on the road? Yes. Any videos? Yes. So if we looked, we would find you and you will receive some credits for these videos. She said no. He said, but you was there, right? Yes. But okay, so it was a big thing with that, and I kind of summed it up because she was trying to say, oh, dancers don't get credits and this and that. So he was basically saying, but we can still be able to look up these videos and see you in them. Because if you're his dancer and he shoots a video, his dancers are going to be the ones in that video. Why would he go use other dancers if he already has dancers for his video? Make that make sense. So this is the part where she was saying, well, are you talking about concerts? Are you talking about videos? What are you talking about? Because you're talking about two different things. That's when she became a smart ass. So he asked, were you ever in a non-concert video? No. But you were his dancer on the video, and on the video there were dancers. Well, that's a two-part question because some of the videos had dancers and some of the videos didn't have dancers. But were you in any of the ones that had dancers? Just say no. Couldn't say no because then that will show that she wasn't actually there as a background dancer. That will put a big, what is that? What word am I looking for? That will put a question mark in her whole testimony. They said, but you performed at the tour. Yes, she refused to name some of the venues. She said that was 25 years ago. She don't remember the venues. All she remembered was the Chicago Theater, and she remembered that because she's from Chicago, and the Chicago Theater is a big deal in Chicago. And he said the same thing I was thinking, but you remember all of these addresses down to the zip code from 25, 30 years ago, but you can't remember a venue in a different state that you performed at for this man. Except the Chicago Theater that everybody knows. This Rob Holmes state. Come on now. He done performed at every venue in Chicago. So you can just pick one and be right. Get out of here with that. Okay, so yes, she said in Washington, because that's the place he was asking about, because remember they went from there to Washington, D.C. She couldn't name. She said, I just know we performed at arenas, gyms, etc., little auditoriums. She said, what did she say? We even performed in schoolyards or something like that funny. But she couldn't name them. So
what about the age thing?
What age thing would be allowed because of, okay, so he asked her, that was next. He asked her, were you aware that Aaliyah didn't perform? The reason she didn't perform is because she wasn't allowed because of her age. She said, no, I didn't know that. But at that time, she was only a year older than Aaliyah. So if Aaliyah couldn't perform, how the heck was you able to perform? Did you know? They asked her again, did you know that she was prohibited to be even in the building because of her age? And she said, no, she wasn't aware of that. She was like, why would I know that? Why would I be aware of that stuff? Why? Because you claimed you was always with Aaliyah. You seen everything Aaliyah did. You was there. That's the reason why you all in tears. Yeah, it's safe to say that. Absolutely. When did they asked her, when did she hire her lawyer? She hired a lawyer in 2020. She was engaged with she was involved with surviving RKelly in 2018. They said, so you didn't tell anybody Rob assaulted you? And she said, correct. So then the government redirected and they asked,
you forgot about the money.
What money?
How much did you get paid?
She already said that.
You didn't say it.
Yes, I did. Okay, y'all. Did I say that? She did. I did say that. She said she got paid for the photos. She got paid a couple of grand. She couldn't. She couldn't. I said that already. That was in the earlier testimony. I said that already, right, y'all? They asked her, what did she provide surviving RKelly? She said she provided photos. They asked her how much did she get paid. She said numerous times she couldn't recall, and then she just said, fuck it. Somebody told you to go to bed. You digging me? I said a couple of grand, right? Thank you. All right, y'all. So the prosecution redirected. Have you been asked by any other media about you and Rob having sex. Somebody objected. She said, yes, sir. She said, they asked, how did you respond? There was an objection, and then there was a sidebar. Basically, they was getting to, but you were asked by multiple people. It's not just Surviving RKelly that you didn't tell them that you had sex with this man, but it was multiple media outlets that you have been on that you did not mention that. So the prosecution was objecting to that stuff, but if they had a sidebar, y'all will get the sidebar during, because I don't hear that stuff, so y'all will get it during the transcript reading.
Ma'am, you didn't say the part about she said to that part.
And she chose not to discuss. She said she chose not to discuss that at that time.
Why?
Won't you get up here and tell them? Listen, I'll be writing and trying. What else did she say?
She felt it was embarrassed. She was embarrassed.
Didn't I say that she said she was embarrassed, y'all? Will somebody please tell Sylvia to go to bed again? Did I not say earlier that she said she did not talk to anyone about it because she was embarrassed that she put herself in that situation? Did I not say that?
I don't remember you saying that.
I said it right here. I was embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know I was in that situation. Okay. She said, and I also, after that, she said she was trained from day one to protect Rob.
Elijah, leave me alone. Elijah, leave me alone.
Way Too Real said, good night, Sylvia.
Oh my
A lot
God,
of people saying good night.
Oh my God.
Okay, y'all. So there was no more questions for her. She was done. I think Koenig didn't really question her like he grilled the others and caught them up on so much stuff, because you really had to be in that courtroom to listen to how she was telling her story, and just the way that just her manner of speaking and some of the verbiage that she used to describe certain situations, you can kind of tell that her testimony came straight from a handbook. It was not, it was just like, okay, go ahead, just go. So that's how that ended. The next witness was supposed to be a Mr. Jerry Ortiz. However, there was some type of stipulation with him. The judge had dismissed the jury at that time. They talked over the stipulation. I guess they decided it was a stipulation to certain evidence. And I guess that's what that person was supposed to testify to. So they just objected to that, and the defense and the government made an agreement. So they proceeded with the next witness, who was...
What does a stipulation mean?
When they proceeded to the next one, listen, we can sit here and have English class, vocabulary. While you over there laying down, you could be looking that up for whoever on here that don't know what stipulation means, because I'm on here for hours trying to get this out the way for people. Get up and look up stipulation. Tell her to look it up, y'all.
My phone dying.
Okay, so the next witness, y'all don't want to worry about no stipulation. Y'all want to hear about this witness right here. It's funny. Okay, his name was Alex.
Oh, Lord.
Let me see if y'all can
I want to be
guess.
quiet on this one.
He was Exhibit 68 was a photo of him. His birthday is 2/13/90. He's 31 years old. He's from the south suburb of Chicago, Hazelcrest. He went to Hillcrest High School, 2008 graduate. Some college. He was employed at McDonald's in Markham, Illinois. He was employed in construction. Now he's employed now in construction. He also owns his own clothing line. Dom K said, "Can you text him to StreamYard?"
No.
She said no. I don't know it, Dom. I'm sorry.
Dom,
she's
would reading her thing. This is not panel time.
And she said, "I don't mind." He identified Rob in the courtroom. He met Rob when he was in high school. Y'all pay attention to this. He met Rob when he was in high school. He was 16 years old, junior. The last time he saw Rob was 2018. He said he met him at a party at his residence. He went to his house multiple times. This is the Olympia Fields house. He said he's staying for after I finish. They showed a picture of the house. He said he attended about 9 parties. He went with his best friend. The name is being withheld, so that means that that's a person that's not testifying for the prosecution.
No, he testified already.
This dude did.
That was Lewis.
Lewis testified? Oh, I must have missed his testimony.
Yeah,
I never seen
that's
that.
our line. Lewis.
Oh, that was him?
Mm-hmm.
He looks so different.
Mm-hmm. They put a little kid's picture.
Yeah, they used Sylvia said that the guy that they using as Lewis was Richard Arline. She said the reason I didn't recognize him is because they literally put up like a little kid's picture of him. So I didn't know that was him. But he's saying that was his best friend. Why wouldn't they use the name if he already testified?
His name was Lewis.
Lewis. Why didn't they? Oh, that's stupid.
But
so
they put a picture with Lewis on there.
Yeah. So okay, that's Lewis, y'all. I wasn't there for his testimony. So, they lived in the same neighborhood. They went to the same high school. Lewis was 1 year older. He was a senior. He ended up going because Lewis had got invited and Lewis invited him. He said Lewis had already knew Rob. He worked at McDonald's. He said he met Rob through the drive-thru at the Markham McDonald's. They showed a picture of the McDonald's. Recalled meeting him at a party. He recalled at the time. It was the time of year was 2007, January-ish. It was a birthday.
I'm sorry.
It was Rob's birthday. His birthday is in February. Correct. Do you recall how you got there? Lewis. They went to the Holiday Inn and then there was a shuttle bus to take everyone to the residence. After that, what happened? He said it was just a live party. Did you go through security? He said yes, there were waivers and they were checking ID, but he said no one checked his. He seen that had happened to other people, and he just said it was nice. It was nice music, people dancing, alcohol served. He said it was like 98% women, 2% men. He said he had a casual, brief greet to meet Rob. He said it was very brief. And then he attended other parties, birthday parties, album release parties, and regular parties. He attended all. Somebody on here. Oh, they texting you stipulation.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
He attended. He said the Double Up release party, 2007 spring. He was still a junior. It was towards the end. Do you recall speaking to him? He said yes. He said he slipped me his number. It was balled up. He put it into his hand. It was handwritten. They asked, do you have a cell phone? He said yes. It's in his brother-in-law's name. So it was another exhibit. I didn't write down a number, but they just was showing that the phone number that he had at that time was in his brother-in-law name. They asked when he was in high school, was his brother married? Was it his brother-in-law at that time, or was his sister just dating him? And he said, no, I think that they were married. Did your sister or brother know Rob? No. When he gave you his phone number, how did it make you feel? He said it made me feel pretty good, being a celebrity of his status, and now he has his phone number, so it made him feel good. He said he kept in contact through text. He said Rob would just want him to keep in contact with him, so he can know what's going on with him. He wanted him to keep in contact. Okay, so Rob wanted to make sure he was doing okay, and Rob wanted him to make sure he was doing okay. So, yeah. Did you see him at other places? Yes, where residents in the rec center. Rob played basketball at the rec center in Markham. He attended the games there. He said the rec center was about 17 minutes driving away from Rob's house. Seen him play there maybe 2 or 3 times. He said he had actually also played Rob there. And he played at a different location with him in Chicago at a church. He's seen him there multiple times. How did you learn about the games? He said Lewis would tell him about the games. Kelly ball, they call it Kelly ball, because they would just get the rebounds and pass it to him and let him shoot. So that was called Kelly ball. They asked who was there, basically regular watchers, hoopers, and some of his lady friends. And where did the ladies watch? He said, apart from everyone else, meaning men. So the all his lady friends sat separately from everyone else. Okay. During the early days in Olympia Fields, did you see or meet any of Rob's associates or at the basketball games? He said yes. Exhibit 4 was Junebug, personal assistant. Exhibit 31, Tom, assistant. Exhibit 21, it was just like a friend. His name was Baldy. Exhibit 9, he don't know his name, but he said he's seen him at parties. Exhibit 22, Candy. He called her Cookie and said that she was part of security. Did Rob ever ask you to come to his home? Yes, but it wasn't for a party. Said he wanted to see him. He opened the gates and told him to wait inside his Maybach. He said he didn't actually see him. He told him to do these things through text. He said he waited for about 20 minutes. After that, he came out and got inside. He recalled them talking to him, and then Rob forcefully kissing him and licking his face. He said he was in shock. He told him you need to be open-minded. And he said then he went home. He said he didn't stop making sexual advances. He also told him to take off his pants one time and sit in a chair. And then Rob gave him oral sex at his house. He said he don't remember what room he was in the house that took place in. He said Rob recorded on the iPad. Am I going too fast? I'm not going too fast, right? Okay. Rob recorded everything on the iPad. Rob set the iPad up. He said there was a time when he actually had sex with him, and another person, yes, told him. He basically told him he had a gift for him to come over to the house. He said he had him wait upstairs in one of his kids' room. Rob had him wait in one of the kids' rooms and said, don't be nervous. Take off your clothes, and then sent in a half-naked lady into the room. He said he didn't know her name. What happened after that? He told them to go at it. They didn't know what to do. Then told them to start kissing and act like they mean it. He said inside of the room there was an iPad, some production lights in the room, and he said he started recording, and Rob started masturbating. Told him to start having sex with her before she gave them blowjobs. So Rob told her to give me and him oral sex after, correct? He told him to go wait in another room after he penetrated the young lady. Who was in charge of all of this? Rob. Why did you do it? He said, I don't actually know. And they said, after this time, did you have sex encounters again? Any other sexual encounters with him? Again, yes. Sometimes just him, sometimes with other women. Okay. Any questions for me, Sylvia?
Let me see.
I just want to.
Questions.
No, he said this happened around 2007. He said he was a junior. Yeah, it's the iPad thing. It didn't even come out until 2010, 2011. Yeah, but he said this was 2000. Okay, yeah. He said, yeah, he definitely said 2007. Okay, so then he said, mind you, he said there were several more sexual encounters with him and Rob, and then just him. Well, him and Rob, and then him and the ladies as well. He said at one time, Rob told him to give oral sex and then dry hump his butt. He recorded that on the iPad. That happened at the studio, on a tour bus, and in the residence of Olympia Fields, Trump Towers, and both the studios on Ohio and Justine. During sex, he was instructed to call him daddy as well. He said they had sex on a tour bus. It was in the back room. It was parked downtown Chicago. Apart from the first encounter with the female, how many other times were Rob and females? Countless other times. Rob was always in charge. Types of sex be penetration, letting them put, then these are his words, penetration, letting them put their mouths on his penis, kissing them. He said Rob will either be masturbating or just watching. Did he tell you what to do? Yes. Did he record? Yes. Did he engage with y'all? Yes. What did he call you? Nephew. Are you his nephew? No. Related to him? No. At times you engaged. Did you engaged? Did you know the names of the females you were having sexual encounters with? No. Where did you engage with them? At his residence, studio, trips out of state? I'm almost done, y'all. In hotel rooms. Rules. Some of the rules, he had rules. They wasn't allowed to talk to each other. Him and the ladies. Did you engage more than once? Yes. All in the presence of Rob? Yes. Do you recall what they looked like? Yes. Do you recall all of them? So they showed him Exhibit 69B, which was a picture of Dominique. Yes, she was one of the first ones he had sex with multiple times. Didn't know her name. Engaged in penetration and oral sex, kissing. Did you engage in sex? Did you engage? Were they being recorded? Yes. Who told you what to do, Rob? Who told Dom what to do? Rob. Exhibit 75 was a picture of Jane. Yes, directed him to have sex more than once with her. He didn't know her name. Penetration, pretty much the same sex. Rob directed it. Things were recorded. He said everything was 100% recorded. Exhibit 78 was Joy, engaged in sex more than once. Exhibit 78 was Joy. 76 is Anna. He's not 100% sure. He says she looks familiar. He thinks one time maybe in Miami is where he may have had sex with her, but he's not sure. He said, but there was a female and it was recorded and it was at Rob's direction. He didn't know the name. During the encounters, how did they appear to you? He said these women appeared zombie-ish. They seem like zombies. Nope, it wasn't 2017. It was 2007. The man is 31 years old now. So he said it happened in 2017. 2007, when he was 16. Okay, so listen, y'all. He said he was a junior. He was a member. He was a junior. He was 16 years old. Okay, remember that, 2007.
He said he was born 1990 too. 1990 also.
Robert does not need to testify. Yeah, he don't need to testify. Exactly. Okay, y'all. Okay. During the encounters, he said the girls appeared kind of zombie-ish. What other types of things did Rob tell you to do? He told them to basically do it like you mean it, and he would like tell them to moan like they meant it, things like that. First sex encounter with women was in Olympia Fields. You remember lights, yes, and an iPad, yes, and he said there was also like a video recorder, a regular video recorder there as well. Was there times he gave you a few dollars? He said, was there times he gave you money? He said, yeah, he gave me like a few dollars every now and then. Basically, it was for my time and some gas. He said he traveled to ATL twice, 2014. He traveled to Miami once in 2017. Who paid? Rob did. Did you stay at the hotel? Yes, he paid. And some lady named Diana, his words, made the travel arrangements. Rob basically put him in contact with Diana. He's never met Diana. He said the trips were all strictly sexual trips with Rob and other females. He was never invited to a concert or took out publicly. Did you go to parties at studios? He said regular parties. Yes, they were Friday and Saturday parties that he would throw. He traveled to Miami and Atlanta. Do you recall Rob telling you what to tell people when you what you were required to tell people who you were? And he said that he had to say that he was his stylist.
Stylist. Oh, okay.
Over time, he said he distanced himself because he felt used, abused, and was lied to. That sounds like a song. Used, abused, and lied to. That's somebody's song. Like a scornhole woman, right? He said 2015, 16. He left 2015. He left 2016. He left a few times, half of 2017. And he said, yeah, that didn't last. He said his best friend, Lewis, Rob will contact his best friend, Lewis, and then tell nephew to call him. And so that's how basically they would get back together. Ugh, I hate to even say it like that, but that's what he said on the stand. That's how he would come back, because the best friend will be contacted by Rob, and then he would put them in contact with each other. Have you ever stolen cash? He said yes, around $8,000 from Rob in 2013. He actually went to his book bag to retrieve an iPad, and the money was in the bag, so he took it from there. After you met in high school, he said he noticed iPad cash, and it was just after you met in high school. He ever tell you he would look out for you? He said, well, all the time. He told me he would give me a job. He would make me his hype man, etc. Told me this before and after the sex started. 2011, he was arrested for theft. It was more like a robbery, but they actually, I guess he played it down to theft. And then he pled guilty. He spent some time in jail. He said about 4 months. His mom had posted his bond. Rob had actually gave his best friend money for his bond, but the best friend, Lewis, never gave the money to his mom. He said Rob had told him that, and the best friend, Lewis, had told him that. So he stopped speaking to Lewis, and then eventually they started speaking again. He said he was familiar with surviving RKelly. He seen him after that at his residence in Trump Towers in 2019. He said he was there because Rob said he needed him to do something for him, so to stop by. He said when he got there, he said he needed him to write that they had never had sex with each other. Rob told him word for word what to say. And then he handed the letter over to Rob. Says what he wrote was all false. He wrote just for Rob. He said he received a subpoena and he did not want to be there, and he's never spoken publicly about any of this. There was no further questions from the prosecution. Okay, so the cross-examination. Y'all ready?
Yes, I'm ready. This one. I'm ready.
So the cross-examination. So Candy come out.
Uh-oh.
Candy, don't panic. Ain't that what she said? What she said?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said you told us about being arrested when you he said, yeah, 2012. He was actually arrested with Lewis. They had robbed a business. They took cash. He said he was 22. Rob didn't tell him, they said Rob didn't tell you to do it, right? Correct. He said, I did it as a favor for Lewis. He said it took some pulling, but I did it. So basically he said Lewis had to convince him, but he did it. He said he got in with the key from Lewis because he worked there. They got caught because Lewis went back to go cash to collect his last check. Lewis told Rob Lewis had stole from Rob. He had actually stole a camera from him, and he stole bail money to get Alex, or this dude nephew, out of jail from Rob. After Rob had already gave him the money to get him out, he still turned around and stole some more money. He stated he got robbed. They said, you stated you got Rob's number when you were a junior year. He said, when I met Rob, I was 16 going on 17. Well, how old were you when you got his number? 17. He said, but you told the government you didn't get his number until around 2009. He said, that's false. He said, I didn't get his number then. They said, because you couldn't have got his number then, because you said you got it when you was 15, 16. But if you told them this, then you had to be 19, correct? And he was like, yeah, but I didn't get his number in 2009. So they asked him to take a look at what he had told the government. And then he said, basically, I don't need to look. So to reflect his memory. This dude said he don't need to reflect his memory. And the judge told him that, yeah, you're going to look at that and read it and try to reflect. So when he looked at it and read it, they asked him the same question again. He didn't answer, so he just sat there. And the judge asked, do you understand what the question is meaning? He said, yeah, I understand. He just wasn't trying to answer the question. Well, he said, again, I didn't get no number from him in 2009. So then they went on, he says, these things you said happened with you and Rob sexually. How old were you? This dude said 20 years old. He said, you were at least 20 years old, huh? He said, yes, at least 20 years old. It should have been case dismissed right then and there. What y'all think? Case dismissed, right? He just sat here and said 15, 16, 17 years old, and then got right here and literally said he was 20 years old when he started having sex with Rob. If you was 20 years old, why the hell is you even here? Why would they even call you in as a witness? Exactly, Shane. Don't wait a damn minute. This should have been dismissed. Y'all, I'm literally like sitting in that courtroom, and normally I don't look up at the screen and look at Rob or anything because I be trying to make sure I get everything of what they saying. But I had to stop because it's just like my heart just fell in my stomach because I can't believe this man has literally been sitting here for 2.5 years beyond this shit. I haven't finished telling them. I just stopped to take a break to reflect. I'm reflecting right now on my feelings in that courtroom.
Did you tell him that he cried?
I was literally.
Did you tell him he cried?
I can't see Rob because I'm writing notes. So he cried.
Yeah.
I see Rob doing this.
No,
like
the tissue.
So I guess he cried today, y'all. I didn't know that.
When Copeland, when Diana was.
Oh, so he cried when Diana testified. Why she didn't say that when I was going over Diana testimony? I don't know.
You said everything, so
I don't know. I can't see them. I'm not watching the screen. I'm trying to make sure I get the notes. That's this reflection time. Yeah, when she said they said when she said he was a loving, generous man. She loved him. You can definitely see. You can definitely tell that. But just listen to this boy lie when he said he was 20, and then he's not the first person that got on there, said one thing when the prosecution was questioning him, and then turned around and flipped his whole testimony when the defense asked him the question. It's just so sad. It's sad because we still got to keep hearing this because they still calling witnesses and the media is still reporting this stuff, but they not. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
Can I tell y'all something?
It's just sad.
Can I tell y'all something they did in the media room? Because I was in the media room.
Yes, so she was in the media room. She's gonna tell y'all what they did.
Okay, when the prosecutor was on the doing the examination, they were taking notes. But as soon as Cannon came in, they walked out. So they don't care what Cannon is doing on that side.
So did y'all hear her? She said when the prosecution was up and they was asking the questions, the reporters were all taking notes. But as soon as the defense went up to cross-examine, they walked out.
A couple of them was gone.
So that's just letting y'all. This is why I stress these lives is not just. I mean, it's for y'all to inform y'all because we know everybody can't be here and everybody wouldn't be able to get in if they were here. But it's also to try to spread the word. So find a lot of Black media platforms, the Shade Room, what other is this black? You would think that they would be out here alongside of these people trying to get as much information, accurate information as possible, because we know the media can spin things. Surviving RKelly, we know was fabricated. So you think they will be here to report just because, you know, it's they black owned, this is a black man, but none of them is here. And it's sad. And so that's why I asked y'all just to make sure y'all are tagging people in these videos, because eventually somebody gonna have to put the truth out. If they hear it enough, they gonna have to, they can't keep, you know, keep saying the things that they're saying. And as soon as I left out of court, I went on my phone and Googled. That was the first thing that popped up. Man testified Rob gave him oral sex, but it wasn't even the case. And that could be why they're not even staying in the courtroom long enough to hear the defense testimony, to hear the defense cross-examination, to see that these people is lying. They don't even care enough to sit in there for an extra 15, 20 minutes to hear that part, and it's sad.
I talked to that attorney, the one that goes on live IG. She's the bomb. She stayed.
I don't know what the jury knows. I don't, civil suits, I don't think that that's has anything to do with them. So I don't know what the jury knows. Okay, let me just finish this, y'all, because I just had to tell y'all at that point, once the lies started coming, it was just like, just dismiss this shit. Like, come on now. He was directed, they said, you were directed to have sex with females. Yes. How old were you? 20. 20 as well, huh? Yes. This is exactly how Kanik is asking him, because the man still ain't realizing he lying. He didn't got caught up in his lie. There came a time at Rob's direction you said that you were to have sex with Jane. Did you use a condom? Sometimes. You said you were made to have sex with lots of females. Did you use condoms? And he basically said he used condoms more times than he didn't use condoms. So it was, you know, sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't. There was a slight pause. Did you ever work for Rob? He said no. Now let me go back to that really quick. The reason why he was asking did he use condoms is because if you were having sex with everybody that Rob was having sex with, and all these people was testifying that he gave them herpes, why you ain't got it? So that's why he left that at that, because that's exactly what he ain't have to put it out there. The jury is gonna wonder that anyway. If they haven't said he had herpes and he ain't say he do have herpes, then we're gonna assume that he don't, because the question is not being asked. And because we're going to assume that he don't, then now we have to question, well, how are you all having sex with the same people and you're not using protection, but you don't have it since you didn't testify that you did? Okay. So did you ever work for Rob? No. You didn't iron his clothes or anything? No. But you said that there were times that you were dissing yourself and you went back because of a phone call, but that was all on your own. On your own doing, correct. He started searching for a document that he wanted to show to the witness. He asked, weren't you paid to be his personal shopper? He said, no, I shopped for him one time. So you didn't tell the government that Rob hired you to pick out his clothes and to get clothes and stuff together for tours and things? No. But you gave this info to the government. Rob wasn't there. Correct. You told him that during 2004 to 2012, you were paid to be his personal shopper, his stylist, and etc. No, he said, Rob told me to say that. He said, so you lie. He said, no, because I did do that. But he told you, but you said that he just told you to say that. He said, well, you know, when you being brainwashed, he literally said that. Well, you know how when you being brainwashed, you just don't. And so he said he brainwashed me so long. And so Candace said, oh, okay, so now you were brainwashed. Oh, is that what it was? And so then the witness actually said, objection, Your Honor. He actually objected to that own statement because he was sitting there getting caught up in his lies. He told the government that he was paid to be his stylist, his personal shopper, and etc. And then tried to say that he did not say that and said that he was being brainwashed. So at that point, the whole courtroom just was laughing. It was so funny. And then that's when I actually looked at Rob, and he was doing this like, "Is you serious, dude?" He was patting his head. I had to look up and get his expression. So they said when you first met, when the first time he met the feds, the feds had came to the house, and he said when he went over, he said, "Well, it wasn't the feds," and they said, "Well, who was it?" And he said, "Well, it was the feds. It was like Homeland Security." So Kenneth was like, "Okay, so it was the feds." He said, "Yeah, it was the feds," and he said, "And you told them this is what you told them," and he said, "Well, yeah, that's because Rob told me to." But Kenneth was stressing, but Rob wasn't there at no point when you was having these conversations with the feds. So then the cross-examination came. Oh no, I'm sorry. He said that he told the feds. The prosecution asked him, "You only told the feds this because Rob told you to," and he said, "Correct." So then Kenneth came back, cross-examined, and said, "Just one thing, Your Honor." And then the judge said, "Just one." He said, "Okay, well, maybe more." So then they said they introduced themselves as feds, correct? He said, "Yes." He said, "Did they tell you that it was a crime to make false statements?" He said, "Correct." And they said, "Oh, wait, no. And then they all started laughing because he got caught up in his lie once again. Rob was sitting there like just shaking his head. He couldn't believe it. Then that's when Kenneth said that there was nothing further for him. So his whole testimony is just shot. He lied from beginning to end. He couldn't even remember the age that he told. He claimed that he was brainwashed, and the only thing Rob brainwashed him to say was that he was a personal assistant or a shopper. Make that make sense. I got the last witness. We only did like 30 minutes of her testimony. It won't take me another 30 minutes, y'all. If there's any questions on oh yeah, I'm sorry. I did Diana at the beginning. The jury finding it funny. We all was finding it funny because he objected to his own shit. How is the witness of sitting up there objecting and the judge gonna tell him overruled? The judge told him overruled. Yeah, she was like, they all started laughing in the courtroom. Like, did he really just say that Kenneth was busting up? And the judge was like, okay, well, overruled. So the next, okay, let me see what this said. He really doesn't. Oh, that wasn't for me. How much longer? Hold on. How much longer? How much longer do we have to be tortured by the prosecution? From my understanding, Friday. Friday is supposed May, Thursday, Friday may be the last days for the prosecution. Okay, so the next witness is the Mayweather twin, the sister. And she's going to be testifying to certain messages she sent to her sister during her employment with Rob. So they asked if she received a subpoena. I did. Do you want to be here? Absolutely not. She identified Rob. 2015 was when they was basically friends, and then she became an employee. She worked as a personal assistant. How long she wasn't a formal personal assistant for about 8 months. So she worked till about December 2015. She started 2015 and she stopped around June 2016. Did you accompany them on bus trips, on tour? She said, yes. Do you have any siblings? Yes, one. I'm a twin. My nickname is Twin. She said she met Rob in the late 90s through mutual friends. She attended concerts. It's safe to say she was a fan. She said before she started working, where did you see him? She said at shows and parties. Parties at his house or the studios. Everybody was going to these parties at his house. And I lived in Chicago and I didn't go to a party at his house. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And I hear that they was announcing the parties on the radio. That's how these people were finding out when he was having the parties at his house. Which studio? She said the Ohio and the Justine. She said she would work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. When she wasn't working, it was her sister taking her place. Making sure. So most of her responsibility was taking care of his daily needs and making sure he was awake for meetings. She went on a buffet tour. Did you go to other cities? Yes. While you were working, did you attend the concert? She said yes. She was responsible for making sure his guests were seated and had what they needed. Made sure he had everything he needed. Guests could be anybody, girlfriends included. They showed her a picture of Jane, Exhibit 75. She said she recognizes her. Where did you first meet her? In New York. She said they were at she said her sister was actually FaceTiming Rob, and Jane just happened to be in the background, and she seen Jane on the FaceTime call. And then she seen her again at the Barclays. They called her niece. He introduced Jane to them as by so he introduced them saying, this is his sisters, these are your aunties. She doesn't remember that's how her sister was introduced. She didn't remember exactly how he introduced her to her. They showed Exhibit 241, asked her, do you recall this day? They asked her, did she recall a certain day? She said no. So they showed her exhibit in 2015. They showed her Exhibit 241. Does this reflect? She said yes, this is in New York. She said they were there for a concert in Brooklyn. Did you go somewhere after? She said yes. She went from New York to DC on the Sprinter. Was your sister there in DC? She said no, her sister went to the airport. Later on, she pretty much returned to DC. She said it was just her, Jane, and Rob that was on the Sprinter. Rob was on and off. What did you observe? She said Jane slept most of the trip. She did get off. She said she think it was only when they made one stop is when she got off, and that was really at the Best Buy, and that's because Rob was purchasing a computer for her. He rode the Sprinter part of the way, and then he would get on the tour bus and ride the rest. What did you hear her call him? She said, Daddy. When you arrived in DC, you checked into a hotel. She said she flew out the next morning, and then she returned to LA because that's where she lived. Were you formally working at this time? No. When did you when you did start working with him, were there females living with him? Yes. Was Jane one of them? Yes. Dominique? Yes. Exhibit 52B, Juice. When you started, when she started, she lived with him. Exhibit 72V was V. She said yes, she was living with Rob. Exhibit 78, Joy. She said Joy was living there, but she really started moving in once she was ending her employment with Rob. She used to fly in and out, and she said that she arranged travel for Joy. Rules were for her. She had to knock before, and this is the twin that I'm talking about. She had to knock before entering, and she couldn't talk to any of the guys around his girlfriends. Did you meet guys who work for him? Yes. When he told you not to interact, what did he mean? Just not to interact with men when his girlfriend was around. Who did you interact with over the phone? She said Jane. What did they call him? Daddy. When they were talking about him to you, so basically when the girls called her and said, well, can you tell, they call him Mr. Kelly. So can you tell Mr. Kelly? I said, whatever. It was a lot of mentions about iPads. Then they began showing text messages. When Rob going to talk? I don't think he needs to. He good. They were showing text messages from September 27, 2015 that she sent to her sister, and the text message pretty much entailed, and she said it was a convo about Jane. She said he makes them respect him. She says no sir, yes sir. He makes them call him daddy. That's why he told her we were her aunties because we are his sisters. So at that point, the judge said it's 6 o'clock. We're gonna rest here and we'll pick this up tomorrow. And that was it. Sylvia, come on, get up. So that was it for today. Tomorrow is 9:30. I heard something about Lifetime was out there today, possibly filming for Angela. How much longer do we have? Okay, I read that one. Daddy was somebody just asked that question. That's what I heard. Only thing that I seen that was different was that there were a lot of lights outside today. They normally didn't have all of them stage lights and stuff, but that was out there today. And you are welcome. Let me see, any questions? Another win. Yep, it was another win, Brandy. You are so welcome. Let me see. Yes, you heard right. Okay, who was Diana supposed to be in this case? Do you mean like was she supposed to be a witness for the prosecution or the defense? She was supposed to be a witness for the prosecution that worked out for the defense. Can we get 47? Oh, that's not for me. Okay. Both John Doe's thieves and liar. Yeah. Yep. So who was Tiffany Hawkins' baby father? And how old was her? So what I remember about Tiffany Hawkins is she tried to put that baby on Rob, and he actually sued her. I mean, I can fact check me, but I think that's who that was. She tried to put it off on him, and she sued him or something, and he countersued her or something. But there was a lawsuit. He wasn't going. This is one particular person that he knew was trying to come after him. And what did he do? The opposite of what they say that he does, just write a check. He did not do that. He said he wasn't doing that, and he sued her. That's how she managed to go away. I'm just saying, actions speak louder than words. If he did this with one particular person that was trying to extort him, I believe if he would have known about the others, he would have went all the way to court as well. But like he said in his songs, he had all these lawyers and all these different people in his ear telling him you got to save your career. So he went by what he thought was best. And when you get a lawyer, that's what you do. You feel they're going to know what's best. That's their job, right? Just like Diana testified that he told her, his lawyers told him to do this, have your employees write this for your protection, because they were stealing from him. Everybody was stealing from him. There's multiple testimonies that he was paranoid because that's what people were doing. So again, this wasn't just something that he was just making up or just coming with out of his, just waking up, I'm finna make everybody write these letters or something. It was all under the direction of his attorney. Just like they sitting up there giving all this false testimony under the direction of an attorney. He should have asked, have you ever slept with Mr. Kelly? So who is Tiffany baby? I have no idea. He's somewhere in Chicago. That's why they don't have. It's a lot of perjury committed on this day. What time will you be live tomorrow? Yeah, so, okay, when we get out of there, we didn't get out at 5:30. She let us out at 6. And then I was trying to, give some people some rides to their hotels. And that's why I was kind of really late today, and I had to grab something to eat. I hadn't had anything to eat. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to go on a little bit earlier. I promise it won't be this late. No, I'm not gonna make that promise, but I'm trying, y'all, because I'm tired too. I believe that dude is a little touched. He sounded a little special. brought her whole MacBook. He didn't buy the MacBook. Oh, Bree brought her home. Oh, she brought a MacBook. Hold on. I'm so old school. I'd rather write than sit here and try to type everything down. I still rather write. Have y'all gotten a feel for the No, can't see the jury. We don't see the jury at all. I don't think RKelly defense team needs to present. At this point, it's so much reasonable doubt, and you just got to understand it only needs to be just a little bit of reasonable doubt. In order to be convicted on the racketeering, there have to be at least two things in there that he's going to be, that they have to vote guilty for him to be guilty of that charge. And I don't think they've proven any of that. Right now, I feel. I don't understand how I used to live right off of Western and Jackson and never knew his studio was right there on Lake and Justine. I never knew that stuff. So that just tells you these people had to actually be looking for him in order to find him, because does need to present their case. Was Will there? No, Will was not there. Hey, Kevin, he wasn't there. We on your time, bro. Thank you. When they gonna show the evidence? All of this is hearsay. That's all they got. I think they is showing, unless they trying to save it for last minute or something. That's all they got. Rebecca, I heard though. Okay, let me go to new comments. How is RK holding up? Sylvia said he cried today. He cried during Diana's testimony. He shook his head a lot during old boy testimony. Like, this is ridiculous. I've heard that he's expressed that he's just ready to come home. Was she there in the courtroom physically, Don? She was in the courtroom. I seen her. Her mom sat across from me. Was the Savages there? No. Nope. You from out west, Dottie? Yes, I stayed over in St. Stephen's behind Crane, across from Rockwell Gardens. Who mom? Haley Calhoun, when she was testifying, the witnesses, they family, they had to sit in the same overflow room as us. So that's where her mom sat opposite of us. How does he look? Healthy? He looked very healthy. They're testifying to what happened to him if it's their word against his. Wait, it is hearsay. It is. Yeah, it definitely is hearsay. But the defense actually tried to object to them back during the hearing stages of using that Aaliyah stuff, but the judge granted it admissible because she said it's direct evidence of him having an enterprise. So that's why they're allowing the Aaliyah stuff to come in. Do I know the racial breakdown? I wish I don't. I don't know what the jurors look like because we are watching this on the screen, and when the jurors come in, we are not allowed to see them. Hey, Dottie, you are from my grounds, Polk in California, Henry Hornets. Yeah, that's where our studio was at, over there by the Henry Hornets. Yep. But I'm actually born, my family is from Cabrini Green. Wow. Dom, I'm not answering that. I'm not answering. I'm here for RKelly. RKelly, that's all I seen. I don't know nothing else. So basically, all worked at McDonald's. No one remembers last week, but detail. Yes. Diana was the only one to admit that she met with the government over 30 times. Almost 30 times. She was the only one to admit that. What's up, Spitting Fire? So thank you for explaining about that. You are so welcome. Do you think Joy will testify? I do not. Spitting Fire, I told you I was getting off. Because remember I had my daughter there and I was supposed to have took her to Times Square earlier, but that live ran so long. So I had to take her out because she left yesterday. I didn't want her to come out here for nothing. I needed to spend a little time. I'm sorry. Nope. Don't know who's testifying for the defense. Let me see. Ain't that right, Kevin? Cabrini Green. So no evidence at all. That's what I said. Just throw out the whole case. Yep, 30 times. Nobody has said anything about the defense. It seemed like, to me, they can't because nobody from the prosecution side has really gave them like some good testimony that they can even consider convicting Rob on. So I don't think they trying to rest at anytime soon. I do not have nope. I don't know nobody named Coffee from the Greens. Thank you, Reba. I want to burn. No, she wasn't. No, I didn't. If you're talking about school, I didn't go to school over there out west. Oh yes, I went to high school out west, but my mom didn't send me CPS. She sent me over there on the west side somewhere else. Kevin says she know coffee low end. It's some people on my Facebook Live that's from the Cabrini Greens that grew up with my family and everything, and they know her. I don't know her. Freddie Jackson released a solo called Sugar in My Cheese. I wish those parents would take the stand. I don't think they probably would. They probably would plead the fifth if they did. So have there been talks about how long the defense will be on the stand? Nope. The only thing they talk about, so the judge will ask, so what's the schedule like? Who do we have next? And for that next particular day, they would say, well, tomorrow we plan on calling X amount of people. But they don't. And then I know last week she said that they would see how Monday and Tuesday went, and then they would discuss what's to happen later down the line. There was an issue. I don't know what it was. What one witness they had today, Jerry Ortiz, he wasn't called. They skipped past him. Aaliyah was grown and did not speak negatively on R. Nope. I look like I can be her sister. Kevin, I look like I could be Coffee's sister. Wait, what's that? The media won't report that. No, they won't. You're welcome, Don. Was Rob crying? I hear he was. I did not witness it for myself because I was trying to make sure I got all Diana's testimony. I don't look up because if I look up, I'm going to miss some stuff. So I keep my head down. The only time I look up is if they repeating something. So I rarely get to see Rob's expressions when these testimonies is being delivered. How do the judge be looking when they getting caught? I can't even see. Tori, I'm sorry. I won't even lie. We looking at it on the screen, and I couldn't even see. Kerry was not there today, but he did call me when I left court, and I filled him in, and he was so happy to hear what had happened in the courtroom today. Do I know Candyman? Really? You had jokes. Have you heard the videos? You know what? They didn't do that video. They said that. Oh, I do. They said that they had videos. The last I heard, I think it was 3 videos that they were supposed to be introducing, and they said that the three people involved in the video was going to be testifying. That has yet to happen. So the only thing I could think of is they haven't, they're gonna save it for last, and those 3 people will probably be, first they said 2, and I think it's 3. Juice, Dominique, maybe V. Who else? Y'all, this girl don't want to sleep on me. So Juice and Dominique for sure, I think is on the tapes. And the third person, I don't know. Going to court just to look at her again. It's pointless. Did I miss something? I don't want to hear more V. No, it wouldn't be Cash Howard because they said that it'd be a person that was on those tapes. And I don't think she on those tapes having sex with him. Dom, I didn't. All I know is they better not show no grown woman sex tape. Oh, they might. I don't think it's no underage people on that sex tape. I think it's all overage, overage grown women. The RKelly assistant testified. Which one was that? Which assistant? Diana's testifying, and her twin sister is on the stand as we speak. Oh, is Coffee real name Sheba? Kevin? Yeah, he know they did Candyman and Cabrini Green. Lolo being funny. When is Susan testifying? They did not say. Who came in with an attorney? One of them came in with their attorney. Oh, Diana had an attorney with her today, too. Dominique was Joy's assistant. Her and Kels didn't have a relationship. This case is all about sex. Oh, thank you. I love y'all too. I'm glad that y'all actually stay up with me and listen to what I'm saying. And I'm trying. This is the only time y'all will ever see me doing a live on here at period. That's the only time I've ever tried to come out of my shell and do this, was just to, let y'all know what's going on in the courtroom. That's just my main objective. Everything else, I don't know. I know nothing about nothing. The only name. Oh, that's yeah, Sylvia do need to be up. I should just change the name, since I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, to my name and take over her show. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know Megan. It should be a lot of people. We was going over that in court. How many people should be locked up on this Mann Act and this RICO and stuff? It's crazy. They haven't proven anything. In my opinion, I don't. If I asked y'all this, was it Friday? If there was one thing that I would say that he was guilty of, or one thing that y'all heard that y'all feel that he could be guilty of, what is it? And I think only one person said maybe trafficking, taking the girls from state to state, but not even that. If anything, you may want to say domestic violence, when he may have slapped them once or twice, but I'm starting to believe that was just a part of the sex that he had. Nobody asked these girls after they testified to these spankings, what happened afterwards? Did you go sit in a corner? Did you get in bed and cry? Or did y'all have sex? Because 9 times out of 10, after he spanked them, they probably had sex. So that tells me that they was just having some kinky sex. And I really believe that they telling half-assed truths and they exaggerating the situation, meaning he spanked you, but you're not going to tell that was a part of the sex that y'all was having and you liked it at that moment. You may not like it now because the relationship didn't last. So now you want to turn it around and make it seem like that's something that you didn't want to have done. But a lot of them stay for many, many, many years, and even brought other people into the situation. I was asking a question. Will the ex-wife testify? She needs to come testify because Diana said that all those rules these girls was following was her rules. She said she made those rules. Those house rules for nobody to walk around that house, knock before you enter the door, and etc. etc. She said Drea made those rules. She never told us that, did she? She out of everything she said, she ain't never said that. Exactly. All right, y'all. He not even charged for domestic. Right. I was saying, Lola, if I didn't believe that was just a part of the sex that they was having, that would be the only thing. And even a person that's charged with domestic violence don't serve no 2.5 years nowhere, and it's definitely not a federal crime if he did. He is definitely guilty of being too nice, too kind-hearted. But you know what? Every day we go in that courtroom, I'm just looking at God and how he worked. I know his 2.5 years he won't get back, but it's some lesson that we don't know. But Rob know that he had to learn from this, and God had to separate him from this situation and from these people he kept constantly writing songs about, saying that they wasn't no good for him. He needed to get away from them. What we all know the lyrics, but he was not doing that. So he had to take him out of that situation and sit him down so that he can see. So now he can come out and he could be better for himself, his career. He won't have these problems, and then he can come back and he could sue their ass and be richer than he was, coming out than he was going in. So that's how I'm gonna look at it. That's how I'm going to look at it, because it could be worse. He could be not guilty and sitting in there and everything is looking to point towards guilty, but that's just not what it is. We know his time is coming to an end up in there. So before we didn't know, because we didn't have a trial. He was just sitting there. But now we know we're getting close to that end of the road and he coming home, and that's all we can think about. That's all we can, dwell on. Yeah, definitely God got him. So I'm going to go. Let me see if that's one. I tried not to curse, y'all. If I did, it's just because I'm kind of passionate about this. I'm really passionate about it. And it just pisses me off too, because I know a lot of people that's in that same situation. So it kind of hits home for me. So if I curse a lot, I apologize. But it's just messed up, because this is a person's life we playing with, and it's just not fair. It's so many people that deserve to be where he's at, and they not, and it's just sad. If he didn't have money behind his name, or like he said, he went to ask about his money, and then here come this big ass conspiracy and stuff. If that wasn't the case, he'll still be free, and they still wouldn't be paying attention to the people that needs to be up in there. Because if they want somebody to lock up for some racketeering, some RICO and stuff, I can give them somebody. I can give them a few people to lock up. But yeah. Dom, are you able? Can y'all please, if y'all haven't subscribed to my channel, can y'all do that, please, for me, please, so that I can start going live from there? I would appreciate it. I wasn't able to bring my laptop here with me. I left it when I came last week, so I only have my phone, and I'm not able to go live from my phone until I get so many subscribers. So the jury would have to think the government wouldn't be dishonest. So for the jury to think that the government would have to be dishonest, almost every single person that testified said Koenig has actually read their statements that they gave to the government, and then they try to get on the stand and say that they didn't say that. So technically, almost every witness has pretty much said that the government is lying by simply saying, "Oh, that's not what I said." I appreciate you guys as well. Oh, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. I really do. But I don't Sylvia. Dom said throw some cold water on her. I seen that. I should. Sylvia.
Yes.
Come in your live. I don't know what I'm doing. Come in your live. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you as well. You know what? That'll be a good I thought about doing that, taking the time to go over the lyrics to I Admit one day. You know, one day when it's not court or something, it's like maybe like a Saturday or Sunday, and just breaking down that song and just going over it. I think that'll be dope. Cause I ain't gonna even lie to you. Every time I leave court, and I get in the car, I listen to that song till I get to where I'm going, and it's just like, damn, he said that. He sure said that. Dom, you'll break it down with me. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Definitely, let's do that. Let me know when you available. That'll be fun. All right, y'all. I'm finna go. I gotta go to bed. It say, Daddy, I said you and Sylvia should piggyback, do updates on your channel. Hold on. No, she said, Bree says, Daddy, I said you. Oh, I need my glasses, y'all. Daddy, I said you and Sylvia should piggyback, do the updates on your channel, and read the transcripts of Sylvia's lives. That'll be dope. And that's what I want to do. Yeah, that'll be dope. Because then she can still stream what I'm saying from my channel to hers as well. So that's exactly what I want to do. Good night. All right, y'all. Good night, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I see y'all tomorrow. Good night, Facebook. I see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night. I'm standing in front of the camera.
You can't even see.
Oh no, I was telling you.
Okay.